Hello and welcome back to East Coast Bucks. This is the Wide Glide hunt. This is a area that let me give you a quick setup on it. It's an area that I've been hunting for about 15 years. It's on top of a pretty tall ridge, and I like to set up in one corner of it just because they come out on the other side, and I have to have a southwest wind. It's the only way it works because they come out of that other corner. And it's also the only spot you can really get any shots. Years ago when I first started hunting it, these pine trees were about chest high. Well, now they've gotten big enough where you can actually set a tree stand up in them. So I've hunted this spot quite a bit. I know how the deer come through there. They come through this one middle section that's got the strip of pines in it, and there's openings in this field and in the pines. When you get way up on the other end of this field, you can't even shoot. It gets so thick with the thick low-hanging limbs of the pines and everything. So I've cleared out a couple shot lanes in this field, and we're going to pick up the action here. I go in there in the morning, and like I say, I don't even hunt this spot till the rut. There's no bucks to be hit, any sizable bucks anywhere around it until the rut. They come out here bumping these does because they know those does, they feed in it a little bit, but they also bed in it a lot. And I'm going to show you my morning hunt, and then I'll be back to you here in a minute. Welcome back. So let me explain what you just saw there. Like I was telling you, that was a morning hunt, and just wanted to show you that even the bucks will bed up in this, grown up field. Now, mind you, this is the first week of November, so they're up there looking for does because the does do the same thing that little buck you just saw there did. It wasn't all that little, but I don't think he was quite a shooter. But anyways, I thought it was a cool little piece of video that I'd throw in here because this is the same set. It's a little bit to the right of the clearing that you're getting ready to see. And they come up, I wanted to show you that because that's that strip of pines I'm talking about. The strip of bigger pines runs right through the middle of this grown-up field. When I say grown-up field, I'm talking, probably 15 years old. The trees have gotten big now, big enough to set a tree stand up in, the pine trees. So let's pick up the action. When I come back in here on the next hunt, I come in here, like I say, this is that first week of November, so I'm always on the lookout on this spot. It don't matter what time of day it is. Now I get in there pretty early after work. It's about 1:30. I take 2 steps up that tree, and I look off to my right, and all I see is a blur of a little doe come shooting across this opening with a good buck. I had pictures of this buck. I'm going to put some pictures on this video, and you've probably seen them on the page, those of you that follow East Coast Bucks. This is a great big Wide Glide 9, and this buck, he was cruising that grown-up field, that ridgetop grown-up field, and those does, he would get on them does out there, and he'd bump them all around. Now, I've seen him do this several times in years past. It's an old buck. So that evening when I'm setting up 2 steps up this tree and I see him blow that doe out of there. Now they never seen me or nothing. He's just chasing her at 1:30 in the afternoon. So I get set up there real quick. I pull my bow up. I get the camera set up. I'm like, I know that sucker's coming back. Well, he don't come right back. It gets later on in the evening, about 3:30. Well, I look over in that same direction. Here comes that doe back. I'm pretty sure it's the same doe. Well, she comes right there where I seen him last, and she plops down. I'm telling you this because keep an eye what you get ready to see in the right-hand corner of the screen, and you'll see that little doe in the right-hand frame of the screen. And when she plops down there, I know that it's just a matter of time before that buck comes back. It's at that time of year when a big buck like that, they usually don't mess up. If they're on a doe, they're going to stay on her, especially if they're hot on her like that. He's going to find her again eventually. Now, she lost him for a little bit, but I knew it was just a matter of time he's going to come back. I also told myself, as soon as you see that sucker, you need to shoot him because they're going to be gone again in 2 seconds. Because what they'll do is she'll let him get so close to her, and then she'll jump up and take off, and he'll be right on her. So that's the little setup, and we'll watch the scene, and I'll be back to you here in a minute. Well, obviously I spined him, so I put another shot at him, and he's done for. And it's a big 9 I thought it was. Look at this wide sucker right here, boy. He's not the highest scoring deer in the world, but he come in with a bad limp. This is an old deer. I mean, this sucker is old. I know for a fact I'm saying he's 7 or 8. He's got a gimped up hoof. You can see he was on the downhill side. This buck, I've got a lot of history with this buck. He used to be that wide, and his tines were a lot longer. But I mean, still a heck of a deer. Just a big wide 9-pointer. That deer probably 26 inches wide inside. I mean, this is a heck of a wide deer. And running out of light here. As those of you that follow me, you know that I do all this self-filming, so it's kind of hard. But look at this big old sucker's neck. And this is an area, it's so funny because I was just talking about this last night. This is an area that they don't get real big in, and his body isn't all that big. I mean, it's big, don't get me wrong, but look at that daggone neck on that sucker though. I mean, he's rubbing trees in here as wide as a telephone pole. And obviously you see why. Look how wide that rack is. I mean, that's my foot. And I wear size 12. So what's that tell you? Well, anyways, let me set this camera up and see if I can get some better footage of me in there. And I'll get back with you here in a minute. This deer is every bit of 7 or 8 years old. He's got a gimped up hoof. I think he got hit by a car here a couple years ago. I remember this deer. And he had longer tines last year. He's still a heck of a deer. You know, old deer. Big old rutted up neck, kind of screwed up and spined him, but in hindsight I'm glad I dropped him right in his tracks, because it's getting late on me in this grown up field. It's hard to find him in. So not a perfect shot, but the second one put him down, and we got it done. Alright, as you saw, I didn't get a whole lot of footage of him coming in. It happened super quick, as it usually does during the rut. To tell you the truth, it's really hard to self-film. Well, it's hard to self-film anytime, but during the rut, it's darn near impossible sometimes, because when they're bumping does like that, as soon as you get them, as you'll see, I'm fumbling with the camera. I want to set it up and draw and shoot before he gets out of that opening. And it's a pretty good size opening, but it don't take him but a second to shoot through it, and then you're done. If he would have got off to that right-hand side of me, I'd have been out of commission. He'd have bumped that. He'd have come around, bumped that doe up again. They'd have went over the ridge. I may not have never seen him again. I've seen him do that so many times. I've got about 3 of those openings on the upwind side of me, you know, hoping that that same scenario, exact scenario, would happen. Now, as you saw, I goofed up the shot a little bit. I rushed it. I'll fully admit it. But, you know, those kind of shots happen. Out of over probably 150 plus deer, I've spined 3 of them, and that's one of the 3, 2 bucks and 1 doe. The first time I ever did it was one of the first couple deer I ever shot. So I know I'll probably hear some yahoos say, oh, you know, you did this, you did that, whatever. You know, everybody's an expert when it comes to these videos. I'm not. I've shot a lot of deer with a bow. I know when I goof up a shot, and I'll fully admit I goofed it up, but you need to also know that this happens. When you shoot enough deer, I'm not talking about guys that have shot 4 or 5 deers and think they're the expert. I'm talking about guys that you shot 100 plus deer. It's just a matter of odds. You're going to have a couple goofed up shots. It happens. So what you need to know is when you do goof one up, what to do about it. So I cut that video off because obviously there's no need to show what happens when you spine one. But anyways, you need to immediately put another arrow in that deer, and I did. I knocked another arrow, put it right through his, as you'll see, you can see the entry wound in his neck, and it went straight through him. And he was dead like that. That spine shot will put him down in a heartbeat. It was really just a high lung shot, and I'm talking, it was maybe 2 inches high. Otherwise, it'd have been a pass-through double lung. So that's all the difference it takes sometimes. But it ended up working out, and I'm thankful for it. And, you know, I did what I had to do. Like I say, out of 150 deer, shooting 3 of them like that, to me, those aren't bad odds. And I'll take it any day of the week. I'll take the outcome any day of the week. I never, ever intend to hit one bad, but it happens. If you hunt long enough, it happens. You ask any bow hunter out there. So thank you all. There are a couple more good videos coming out this year. I got to head down to the James River this week for the BFL Regional. And hopefully I'll make that All-American this year. And I'll be back to y'all next week with a new video in 2022. And I got some good ones I'm after. Got some good video I'd like to show you guys from this year. And I'll see y'all next week.